Thank you for that.
My name is Ludwe Macingwane from the East London Industrial Development Science and Technology Park. I am passionate about innovation, fascinated with entrepreneurship development, and quite happy and perfectly placed within a science and technology park because these two I can work with. Today I'm going to be taking you through innovation. I see on the program it talks to ICT. I don't know if it was because ICT does cut across sectors and it enables innovation. But I'm going to be talking to you about innovation. And specifically, two things I'm going to be focusing on. One, the fact that we are constantly looking for partnerships. To that end, I saw on the SMME program, I think in the fourth page, one of the entrepreneurs that we assisted by using our networks through the partnerships that we have was bestowed an award last year in November by the Minister of Science and Technology, Mrs. Naledi Pandor. And that entrepreneur comes from the Eastern Cape. And we have facilitated and we've assisted them to a point where they are now at a point of commercializing their product. And that is the stories that we want to tell. And that is the stories that we are trying to ensure that we can assist entrepreneurs to a point where they're able to produce high-tech products that can actually be commercialized. Okay, without further ado, let me go on to my presentation. As I've said, I'm from the East London Industrial Development Zone, specifically the Science and Technology Park, which is really, I like to call it the innovation arm. The IDZ, which is the East London Industrial Development Zone, was actually established in 2003. It's an industrial park which actually offers customized solutions for various industries, specifically in the areas of ICT, renewable energy, automotive and advanced manufacturing, agro-processing, as well as aquaculture. It offers growth-oriented companies, specialized manufacturing platforms, innovative industrial and business solutions, markets and strategic industry networks. So the Science and Technology Park, which I will refer to as the STP, was conceptualized to really coordinate the innovation or the innovative initiatives that would actually feed in to what the IDZ is doing in two ways, basically. One, to create innovative companies. Two, to create services that would actually support the industries, the grown industries, as well as support the entrepreneurs, the SMMEs, as well as incubators. So as I actually go on with my presentation, I want you to actually ask yourself, where do you fit in? Do you fit into the SMME space, entrepreneurship space that could be incubated, or do you fit in to the space where we could actually have partnerships that would ensure that the work that we do for the SMMEs and entrepreneurs is enhanced? Because I believe that if we work in partnership, we can actually create more. Okay, so the STP, as I've said, we were set to basically create homegrown high-tech companies that would actually manufacture, in my case, within the Industrial Development Zone, which is across the fence from where my park is, or within the Eastern Cape. Because if they are in the zone, the ripple effects of that is felt throughout the Eastern Cape. Because it might be the manufacturing and the research that's happening within the zone, but in terms of the products and the resources and stuff, it actually goes back to our communities. And for me, it's quite critical to be able to, when we're actually working on projects, have a value chain. Because successful countries, if you look at how they've actually achieved that success, there's value chain management is very critical to their success. So we also then create competitive growth entities in the form of new manufacturing companies. How we do this is we nurture these entrepreneurs, and I'll talk more about that in later slides. I've spoken to the fact that we offer value-added services to both industry as well as the entrepreneurs themselves. I hope you can see that, but basically that is really our simple model as a science and technology park. If you see the biggest part, which is the red, it talks to networking. Because if you don't network, if you are operating in your own, for instance, if you're an entrepreneur, you're working from your garage at home, chances of actually making it to a point where you're producing mass products in a facility that can export are very slim, as opposed to being in a nurtured environment like the one that we have, which is a science and technology park, and incubation facilities for that matter. There you are able to get the nurturing, the support that you require. And that is actually based, or it's enabled by the networks that these organizations put together so that they can actually offer that to entrepreneurs, to SMMEs, and to incubates. So that's why the red part is so big. We also then have innovation collaboration spaces. What that is a space where an entrepreneur can come and locate within the science and technology park. Because what you find is that when entrepreneurs or incubates or SMMEs want to have their meetings, they want to portray a professional side to them, and you are operating from home, you are unable to have meetings, with your key clients, you are unable to have facilities like your video conferencing, which may be critical if you want to break into other markets. So we offer those services where at a very minimal cost, you are able to tap into that and be professional, and so that you can get more business, so that you can grow, so that you can link up. Because for us, at the center of success for you as entrepreneurs is networking and facilitating an environment that would ensure that constantly and continuously you are getting, or you are enabled to meet up with, business, funding, research if you require, and so forth and so forth. We've got incubation as a third, I think it's purple or blue. Don't know, I'm colorblind sometimes. Incubation, so incubation, that's where we focus really on nurturing, mentoring. By mentoring, we look at your technical expertise. I've spoken to the 5 sectors that we focus on. So that is the 5 sectors that we look to give expertise in. So we give technical expertise, we give business expertise, we give all sorts of expertise, basically, in terms of if you would like to protect your intellectual capacity. Because I think that is one thing I've found as an Eastern Cape we are not taking seriously. And that is where our wealth lies. Because what I get when I sit with entrepreneurs that come through to the center, who have got concepts that they've developed, and there's an opportunity to patent. And I ask them, okay, so what have you done in terms of intellectual property, to protect your product? No, I just want to get my product to the market. And that's where I caution them. It might look to you like it's expensive to actually protect your product now. But 10 years down the line, if you protect this product, you may not do anything about it Now remember, if you protect a product within our South African context, you protect it, I stand corrected, I think it's 20 years, and then you have to renew that. 10 years down the line, it might not actually take on and get into the market. You've protected it. 10 years down the line, someone sees your patented product or concept or service when they're looking through, and they realize, but I could use this to get me from here to there. Guess what? They're going to have to come to you to either assign, meaning that they buy it from you, or they can license so that they can distribute. That way you're making money and you're sitting at home because you actually made the correct decisions. So that is one of the things that we do as the STP. We advise, that's part of our nurturing, ensuring that we give you the correct business advice at the time when you need it. We get the different expertise to come and talk to you and workshop and have one-on-ones with the entrepreneurs such that the decisions that you make now can make money for you many years from now. So basically, the last one is then the services that we offer. As a science and technology park, the services that we offer are all aimed at basically the circle. If you look at this, it's circles. It's all circles, because it all works together at the end of the day. So the services that we offer are to ensure that at the back of our minds, when we look at the services that we're going to be offering to entrepreneurs, to either businesses, are to ensure that the two meet. Big industry, entrepreneurs, they meet. There's some research element that's coming, and we're able to take the products that are coming out of that, and we're able to break new markets. When I say break new markets, we're able to actually go beyond South Africa, into Africa, and into the world. We are linked to an international association of science parks, and this enables that our users, our community, by this I mean the people that are part of our network as the STP, both virtually and precinct, are able to tap into all these resources. We've got an open innovation platform that is able to link you to companies that are international companies. So you are able to then, in that way, we're creating, or we are doing away with the barriers to international market that were, existent in the past. So you are able to tap into that. Within a few months, you are able to have a meeting with someone who is sitting in Germany, and it's possible. You are able to take your product that you've patented here, or the product that you've created here, you're able to take it into another country. We're able to facilitate a space where you can have your video conferencing with the companies, such that you grow. Because in order for us as an Eastern Cape to be seen, we need to be able to break into those markets. We need to be able to think beyond Eastern Cape, South Africa, Africa. We need to be able to think, globally. And those are the services that we strive to give to you as entrepreneurs. Okay, just the next slide basically just depicts the different elements that we have within our science park. I've spoken to the fact that we're in an enabling environment. I say an enabling environment because we don't physically have the financial means to assist you. We don't have a portal fund where you can come and knock on our doors and then we say, okay, fine, we'll give you this. But through our networks, we're able to tap into funds within both South Africa and internationally, and we're able to actually filter this through to our entrepreneurs that are part of the network. So basically what you literally need to do is you need to just register as part of our community, and then you're part of our network. And what we do is we communicate all the things that are coming up from our networks, from our partners, that we feel that might help our community. You tap into those, and then you grow. Our interest is to ensure that products do not sit on shelves in terms of in concept papers, or technologies do not sit in research centers, but technologies go out into the market. Technologies go out, and we are able to actually create homegrown manufacturing companies, because that is what is going to change our bottom line. That is what is going to increase our GDP, and that is what we need as a South Africa, to move us from where we are to a knowledge-based economy. So we work with the institutions of higher learning. Here we want to ensure that the institutions of higher learning, they're not only doing research for the sake of research. We're trying to influence, work with them to ensure that the research that is actually taking place in these universities is research for development. It's research that is actually coming up with solutions around what is happening in our Eastern Cape. I come from East London. East London is not as urban as PE. So whatever we do, we're very cognizant of the areas around us, the communities around us. So we've partnered with the institutions of higher learning, WUSU, Forte, Rhodes, and other South African institutions, as well as other research institutions that are not necessarily in South Africa, that are playing in the same space, merely to ensure that we are able to advance research that is coming from the Eastern Cape to a point where it can actually be solutions-oriented, it can start to solve our community issues, but more so, we are able to actually continue that cycle of innovation, because it doesn't end where you take your technology to market, but you need to constantly be looking at ways of bettering your service, bettering your product. When I talk about research and institutions of higher learning, people tend to think that, okay, now you think you're talking about researchers, PhD, and PhD students or masters, or it's not that. We research in our communities, in the rural areas, every day. I mean, medicinal plants. We did not have your is it GlaxoSmithKline in the rural areas, but we were able to heal, the basic stuff. So when I talk about research, I'm saying we're linking now research because it's available for us, so that we can actually ramp up the stuff that's coming from our communities to do two things. One, for them to be able to benefit what they should be benefiting from the stuff that they're coming up with. And two, to be able to actually ensure that the products that are coming out there, from there, are certified through the right bodies. They can sit on shelves like any other product. So that is what I'm talking about when I talk of research. I've spoken to incubation. We also then, through the networking or the partnership aspect that we focus on as a science and technology park, we look at venture capital funds that can actually work with the entrepreneurs. So really, the part where I said we don't fund, we facilitate, we look for funding, we look for partnerships, so that our entrepreneurs can actually grow in this value chain. We can create successful companies, homegrown, high-tech producing companies, innovative companies on our soil. So basically, without delving too much on that slide, I've spoken to the fact that we offer space. I've spoken to the fact that we rely on partnership in terms of government incentives and the funding that is offered in that space. I've spoken to the networking that we do, or rather the linkages through the workshops that we would have, the linkages to expertise for entrepreneurs so that they can thrive in their spaces. So I've spoken to all of that. So in a nutshell, this is what we offer as then the Science and Technology Park. I think quickly, or rather briefly, I'll take you through then what do we have in this precinct that you as entrepreneurs, you as businesses, not necessarily only SMMEs, but big businesses as well, can tap into. I've spoken to the incubation facilities. We've got 3 incubation facilities within our science parks. We've got 1 business incubator in the ICT space. We've got 1 accelerator program, which is also in the ICT space. How I differentiate the 2, because they're both in ICT, is that the second one, they literally focus on your research. So they develop software applications. So companies can actually come there and say, we're looking for a solution, develop an application for us, and they do this. In this space, we look at your master students, your PhD students. We bring them on board, we train them so that they are ready to actually service the market. We've got a manufacturing tooling service which is offered in partnership with institutions, research institutions or institutions of higher learning within Eastern Cape, and as well as our affiliated companies within our Association of Science Parks. We've got laboratories, because we think that laboratories are quite critical for both big industry as well as your small industries, in that you can go and you test your products. You can go and, specifically for our analytical testing lab, we test water. And we know how important it is to ensure that what you're giving to your end customer is good quality. It's quite critical. So we've got those facilities. We've also got a renewable energy lab, because there we're saying, as the alternative energy space is becoming critical in our country, we need to, as South Africa, ramp up our skill such that if there's companies that are wanting to come or companies that are actually coming up, there must be a skill pool that will service the industry. So that's basically there for that. Quickly, we've got a 3D printing facility. So this facility, literally, if you've got a product or a concept that you develop, almost done. If you've got a product or a prototype or a concept that you've developed and you would want to take it through to market, but now you don't have the necessary funding to actually go and put a whole manufacturing line, you can literally come into our design center and we can print you 1 to 10 prototypes. You take them to market. It gives you an opportunity to test a few products at a very minimal cost. You fine-tune your product until it's ready to go to market. So that is the kind of service that we have. We also offer research and development that basically talks to your big companies or your small companies, anyone that requires research. Because of our networks with the institutions of higher learning, we're able to put together a project team that can work on your research. When I say research, if maybe you're having a problem with your process line within a manufacturing space, we could literally take from our partners, engineering students, to come and actually work on your problem. Within our space, we give them the expertise, the mentorship, and we project manage the whole thing, and then you as an entrepreneur or a company, you get the solution. Okay, just quickly, prototype development is one aspect that we focus on. It's quite critical for us because we believe that if we are to actually have innovative products spinning out into the market, we need to consciously be assisting people that have got concepts that require assistance to put together a prototype that can be tested in the market. So that is something that we focus on. We launched in 2014, we were launched by Minister Naledi Pandor. 3 years later or 4 years later, we have assisted 4 companies, or rather 4 entrepreneurs, to take their products from concept stage to a point where now they're getting ready to manufacture. One of them has got a partnership with Mesmat to distribute their products. Because what we do is we walk with you, but you as an entrepreneur, you must take the responsibility, but we walk with you to a point that you can commercialize your products. So quickly, those are the 4 products that we have. We've assisted them literally from concept node to first prototype, to testing the prototype, to making sure it goes through the certification bodies, to intellectual property protection in terms of registering patents, to a point where now they're ready for market. Open Innovation is a platform that is an online port. It's a web-based platform that also then our entrepreneurs can tap into and put their products, prototypes, or technologies, or anything that they've developed, or anything that they're working on, and push it internationally. I spoke to that earlier, and push it internationally such that we can actually get access to markets. That's just a few pictures of our prototypes that we've assisted. The top left, the one at the top is off the grid. It's an off-the-grid street light. So it actually operates off the grid, and it was developed by an entrepreneur. We helped that entrepreneur. The bottom one, it's a heat radar, so it traps the heat from a cool room. It actually channels the heat into a geyser, and then you are able to use that to get warm water. Saves energy. Yeah. I think let me end there. We've got a stall at the back there. You're welcome to come through and chat to us. There's very knowledgeable ladies that can take you through some of the aspects that I may not have spoken to due to time. You're welcome to go there, register, and take a pamphlet, ask questions, so that we can link up further, because our interest is to ensure that from the Eastern Cape, great things, come out of there. Because I don't think it's a mistake that, some of the best leaders are coming from the Eastern Cape. Our Eastern Cape was one of the first regions to have 4 institutions of higher learning before any other one in South Africa. It's got some of the best leaders coming from here that are not here now in the Eastern Cape. But if you look at the top people, there's bound to be an Eastern Cape, and I don't think that is a mistake. We are a very blessed region. We've got a lot of biodiversity. We've got land. There's abundance of land. That's why it excites me, the space that I'm in, because there's just so much that we can do. There's just so much that we can do between ourselves as an entity that is there to assist entrepreneurs, and you as an entrepreneur who wants to thrive, because it's in our best interest as an entity to see our homegrown companies producing successful companies, especially women, young people. We want to see them having their own companies. Thank you.